Shalom to the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and that rule well today. And peace and salutation also to the fellow laborers that's out there in the ministry and the believers that scatter worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. Once again, I'm the brother Shaquat Gabar coming at you with another quick lesson. And right before I get into this lesson, this message or these videos goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. And also to the Israelite foreigners that are scattered amongst the heathen nations and that may take on a physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you are considered an Israelite as well. Once again, Shalom. So basically, as you can see, more and more current news, okay, what took place over the weekend with this whole allegedly, okay, I say, okay, attempt, okay, on DJ Trump, okay, when it comes to the whole White House dinner, supposedly shooting, okay, which we know, us that's in the faith, us that's involved in this ministry, and those of us of the hopeful elect, knowing the times that we in, okay, we know when it comes to Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, okay, mainly these elites, on down to the less luminary ones that doing their bidding, okay, we know they got an agenda, okay, we know a lot of these things are psyops and stage events, okay, when it comes to the people interest, okay, and more just Esau, Edom just looking more and more tacky, man. Okay, we already know how they're gonna spin the narrative when it comes to the media, okay, mainstream media, okay. But now you got a lot of alternative media, exposing what happened over the weekend, okay. And videos is out there, man. Okay, I just giving my spiritual 2 cents at this time. Okay, as I got a couple of headlines up, and then when it comes to current news, okay, when it comes to this whole suspect, okay, being charged now, okay, you can more and more when you see the suspect, okay, you see his how he looked, okay, appeared to be look like a so-called Negro or a so-called black man, okay, and it's all like I said, been all tacky, man. Okay, videos surfing how and information how this individual, okay, which his name is let me see, like I said, a couple of headlines. Okay, White House says suspects in correspondence dinner shooting wanted to target Trump officials. Suspect in White House press Gilley attack charged with attempting to assassination. Okay, so you hear the headlines. Okay, what Trump wants out of the correspondence dinner shooting. Okay, like I said, you see the individual right here. He been a teacher, a graduate. Okay, let me see. Colin Allen, 31. Okay, now they talking about so he don't write a manifesto. Okay, saying why he attempted it. Okay, what they call it pre murder or guard already had it set up. Okay, not trying to be careful. Okay, as you can see, he says Colin Allen, 31, wrote that the law enforcement, hotel employees, and guests weren't his intended targets, but that he would still attack them to get to the administration, adding, I really hope it doesn't come to that. So all type of madness, man. Okay, now, information coming out there, how, he was, you see his, the face, Okay, the new face of terrorism. Okay, hey, but when the Nas coming out there, he had a assault rifles on him. Okay, he had knives on him. Videos showing that he ran past security. Okay, like Elder Malcolm from the GMS Chicago branch say, how the hell he gonna run past security and able to enter into a supposed to be a secure, event at that time, but he able to enter into with all those artilleries on him and those weapons on him. Okay, and when they caught him, you see him laying down on the ground. First of all, they say they shot the suspect. Okay, but then you see him on the ground, shirtless. Okay, all type of madness, man. Okay, he been on social media. Okay, they said that he had a post on social media, which they took it down. That he had, on his sweatshirt, IDF. Okay, when it comes to those small hats. Okay, so it's just all type of madness, man. All a lot of tackiness. Okay, a lot of flaws. Okay, when it comes to this whole incident, man. Okay, and like I said, we in the time Esau Edom just they losing. Okay, they losing their power. Okay, all these and up, but more and more distractions. Okay, you still got the whole situation with Israel, America, Israel, and Iran. Okay, the coming of the Third World War. Okay, the coming of the straits, more and more of the straits of Hormuz about to take effect when it comes to the closing of the straits. Okay, that's gonna lead to more and more economy woes. Okay, financial woes. Okay, you got a lot of these distractions. Okay, we're in the time now of more and more bread and circus, entertainment, NBA playoffs, NFL draft. Okay, college football, spring. Okay, UFC fights, boxing matches. Okay, the latest trend, the latest gossip, the latest entertainment, man. That the average American, especially when it comes to you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, not knowing what's going on, man. Okay, but this right here could point towards more. We need more surveillance. Okay, cause Trump talking about his whole ballroom. It's the reason why he need to build a better ballroom. Okay, they need more protection when it comes to armory and uh, um, bulletproof, you know, uh, uh, bulletproof glasses and all that. Okay, all type of madness, man. But we know that Esau Edom is about to on the verge of his downfall, and their lives ain't working no more when it comes to their news or their media. Okay, to the point they got to bring certain events that they causing on their own. Okay, to keep the people's minds trapped. Okay, but a lot of people are seeing through it. Okay, when it comes to like I say, certain people out there. Okay, that's scrutinizing and dissecting this whole all the madness that's going on when it comes to the social media or the mainstream media, especially now this whole situation. Okay, and like I said, a lot of these things are staged, man. Okay, well, right before that, right before the event took off, you had a lady. Her name was I forgot. Her name was Caroline something. Talking about some. It's gonna be a good night. Okay, looking for shots to be fired off. Okay, and all of a sudden, you had shots being fired. Outside of the dinner hall. Okay, like I say, a lot of questions behind it. Okay, but us that's in the faith. Okay, we know how Esau Edom gonna get down, man. Okay, like I said, all this gonna push more surveillance. Okay, to look out for terrorism. Okay, more beefing up the military, homeland security. Okay, ICE. Okay, the FBI task force. Etc. Man. Okay, like I say, you see the face of it. Okay, that they pushing to the narrative of. Okay, more and more, the face of terrorism looking like so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, and like I say, they still got the whole situation with Iran. Okay, they talking about sales over here, possibly. They gotta watch out for. That's gonna lead to more beefing up the security here on the shores of America. Okay, here in the States, man. And we'll see more and more how these spin the narrative, man. Okay, yeah, cause Trump losing it. Okay, they saying that this more and more of a stage so Trump can get more better ratings. Cause due to his administration, he losing more and more ratings. Okay, and all the madness that he's been involved in and what he's pushing. Okay, and this economy more and more falling, and American people losing more and more trust in him. Mainly these Edomites, man. Okay, when it comes to the mega community. Okay, and now they talking about more and more the coming of civil war, civil unrest, like I say, terrorism. Okay, the coming of race wars, the coming of more and more martial law. Okay, the more pushing of AI technology. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so you can see, man, the latest, man. So I guess this Cole Allen, okay, he'll be the talk of the week. Okay, but behind the scenes, we know that mainly these elites want to forge their NWO, man. Okay, causing order out of chaos, man. Okay, and as it looking, Trump would like to be the right one to do it. Okay, because Trump doing a bidding anyway when it comes to these elite bankers. Okay, let me see. Okay, so they already talking about this the second attempt assassination on him. Okay, yeah, because the meantime they talking about how prior to this, how Trump need to be impeachment. He need to be arrested for the war over there in Iran. Okay, that was not backed up by Congress. Okay, and all that. How he's getting online and doing all outlandish things on social media. Okay, they talking about his health failing him. Okay, hey, they had a picture of him while he was in the overhaul. Okay, while he was holding a meeting, he falling asleep. Okay, it's all type of madness, man. But let me go ahead and get into the scriptures, and we'll see what coming out of it. But we know this more and more of them going to push more strict legislations. Okay, more and more coming of surveillance. Okay, but let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, and that's going to Esau Edom. Because Esau Edom is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan here on the earth, as Esau Edom is in power. Okay, and when it comes to the word Satan, Shaitan in the Hebrew mean adversary. Everything that Esau Edom does is contrary to the ways of Yahweh Shema Shah. Okay, as they trying to forge their NWO. And we know they want to try to bring it by any means necessary, man. Okay, once again, order out of chaos. Stage events, the coming of flags. Okay, and them, pushing their agenda. But us, that's the hopeful elect, us are the elect, Lord willing. Okay, when it comes to the spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shah, we're not ignorant of their devices. Okay, yeah, because we got the blueprint through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shah, how these devils is gonna be how they moving here in the last days, man. Okay, as they trying to forge the NWO. Okay, mainly especially when it comes to that RFID micro being implemented. Okay, soon they want to bring to the forefront. Okay, the mark of the beast, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. That's going to replace the physical dollar. Okay, this is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh by Shai, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Okay, that wiles, the word wiles there mean tricks. Okay, when it comes to Esau Edom agenda, they stage events. Okay, they flags. Okay, they propaganda, and they spinning it through the media. Okay, you can look up terms like Operation Mockingbird. Okay, once again, they wiles, they tricks, man. Okay, and us that's of the hopeful elect, us that has been called. Okay, us the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans. Okay, when it comes to the Israelites, involved in this faith and in this ministry through the Spirit of the Lord. Okay, we have put on the armor, which is our defense. Okay, and we know we're coming in the time of persecution. Okay, when it comes to the prophets of Yahweh Shem Shah. Okay, so we're preparing ourselves for that, man. And it says, because they already look at us as radicals, extremists, okay, a T group, a hate group. And it says, continue on, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And they come to Esau Edom and their agenda. Because once again, they're coming after the workings of Satan. Okay? In high places, which Yahweh Shem Shah setting them up, okay, to have that power on the left-hand side when it comes to their wickedness and their deceivingness. Okay? So that's what we're fighting against. Okay, when it comes to these elites. Okay? And only way we can prevail is through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, coming back into this truth and being covered through the Spirit of the Lord as we're approaching the time of Jacob's trouble and all hell breaking loose. Okay? Because ultimately this place in America going to be destroyed at the peak of the Third World War by the way of thermonuclear missiles, and also leading to the time of Yahweh Shai's second coming by the way of the chariots, what the world call UFOs, which are the vehicles of the angels and the salvation of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3 that's destined to be saved. Okay, those are so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American descent. Okay, by the way of the chariots from the great destruction from the missiles. And Yahweh Shah is coming back also to take Esau, Edom, and these heathens out of power, man. Because the future of these heathen nations, starting with the elites of Esau, Edom, that's going to escape the damnation of the missiles, as they're going to be in their retreats, they're going to be reserved for captivity, man. Okay? Once Yahweh Shah established our kingdom here on the earth in the land of Israel, which the land of Israel going to be cleansed by the way of missiles, okay, and fire. Because the people that's over there are not the original inheritors, and I'll keep it like that. Okay? And eventually, all these heathen nations go into captivity to build our kingdom up. Okay? Starting with the elect being delivered. Okay? Because at this time, 2/3 of our people are going to be cut off and judged. Of course, in Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, man. They're going to be taken by the buffoonery and the deceivingness of Esau, Edom. Okay? And the Lord giving Esau, Edom the charge that swore to come against our people, to come against you tribes, man. For why? Because our people not going to repent, the 2/3 of our people. As we see now, they scoffing and scorning, okay, coming against the prophets of Yahweh Shem Shah, not want to acknowledge their power, not want to acknowledge their true heritage as Israelites, want to furthermore trust in this system, trust in these false gods, idol worship, going after hedonistic customs, okay, want to be comfortable here, okay. So when all hell break loose, man, okay, Lord gonna bring judgment upon them, okay. So they don't have the armor of the Lord with them, the covering, okay. That's why they're gonna be taken, okay. When it comes to being deceived, and ultimately, Lord bringing judgment upon them, okay, by the way of Esau, Edom, and the sword, or by the way of famine, pestilence, teeth of wild beasts, natural disasters, and ultimately those of our people that take that RFID micro, they're going to be destroyed, according to Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, by the way of the thermonuclear missiles and the chariots bringing fire. Okay? And they just have to come back in the kingdom. So for right now, it's all about the elect, okay, us are the hopeful elect, okay? And it says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh by Shemel Shai, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, having done all to stand. Okay, and that's what we're doing now, preparing ourselves now. Okay, Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. For wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of our times. Okay, and it says, continue on. Therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, as your and your feet shod with preparation of the gospel of peace. Okay, preparing ourselves. The word preparation means to prepare ourselves in the times ahead, the times that we're actually in. Okay, that's going to get more intensified. Okay, and that's coming by the way of knowledge and the truth, and knowledge in Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, having the Spirit of the Lord covering with us, man. Okay, and it says, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Yeah, all the fiery darts of the wicked, Esau, Edom, known as the wicked. Okay, Malachi 1 and 4. Okay, and he darts when it comes to them. Okay, when it comes to these strict legislations, they draconian measures. Okay, when it comes to their agenda, when it comes to their sword. Okay, their troops. Okay, the AI technology, the advanced weapons. Okay, orchestrated famine, the coming of power outages. Okay, travel bans. Okay, lockdowns, curfews. Like I say, that RFID micro being implemented for more surveillance. Okay, you hear the talks of Palantir. Okay, all these data centers being put up. Okay, and it says, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, I guess it's going to be our defense. Okay, ultimately the Spirit of the Lord. Okay, that the Lord going to be with us, man. Okay, because the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, okay, a sword is knowing what the cut. Okay, and it's cutting Esau Edom when it comes to the prophets and information age that we in now, that being that exposing these devils, man. And when it comes to the agenda, to the point that everything that they doing is looking tacky. Okay, that it being exposed, man. Okay, but it starts with the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah first, by the way of the prophets, man. Okay, condemning them, exposing them, okay, and prophesying their downfall and their future. Okay, and that's why soon is going to come the time of the famine of the word, Amos 8 and 11. Okay, when the Lord remove his word off the highways and his word off the internet and his prophets off the highways and byways, man, when it comes to the ministry. So that's it on that. Let me see. Let's get this. This is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 12. Stand now with thy enchantments and with thy multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Okay, and the enchantments of Esau Edom, his witchcraft, man. Okay, mainly through his media and these stage events. Okay, and once again, we know Esau Edom get its power off the left hand side of Yahweh Shema Shai through the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, and the principalities. Okay, I read that earlier in Ephesians chapter 6. Okay, principalities meaning a hierarchy demons. Okay, and they get their power from these false gods, idol worship. Okay, that they do. Okay, when it comes to certain rituals. Okay, sacrifices. Okay, they do on the left hand side to gain more and more power. Okay, but now the Lord is exposing all that and about to take all that away from them, because we in the time of their downfall, man. Okay, when it comes to Yahweh Shai returning, they take them out of power, man. Okay, and it says in the multitude, it says, stand now with thy enchantments. Okay, with the multitude of the sorceries of thy sorceries, when thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels, and that's why you're seeing them now, scrambling, looking tacky, okay, as everything being exposed now when it comes to Esau, Edom, and their agenda. That's why now they're going to move with more and more AI technology, AI deep fake, okay, control opposition, psyops, okay, all type of madness, man, okay. I think I know the Elder Apostle Gabar, okay, and other brothers been going into how we in the time of Esau, Edom, the beast, the feast of the beast. Okay, around this time they do a lot, starting from April the 19th up to now, how they do a lot of sacrifice and rituals. Okay, the Bohemian Grove. Okay, worship of Molech. Okay, yeah, but all that is about to come to naught as they being exposed, and eventually Yahweh Shai coming back to take them out of power, man, and setting us up over them. Okay, when it comes to us, the hopeful elect. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly procrastinators, okay, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. And they ain't gonna be able to do it, man. Okay, these witches and these warlocks on the left-hand side. Okay, these Jesuit priests. Okay, these sacrifices that they doing. Okay, they are what they channeling and what they conjuring up through the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, all that's about to come to naught, man. Okay, because we coming in the time of their downfall, man. And the Lord is not going to give the elect over to the delusional as the average Negro, Latino, Native American. Okay, even certain these Americans that are being taken by the deceivingness when it comes to these elites and the less illuminated ones that doing their bidding. Okay, let's get this. Micah chapter 5, verse 11. And I will cut off the cities of thy land and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcraft out thy hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Thy graven images also will I cut off, thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thine hands. Okay, so going into the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, taking Esau Edom out of power. Okay, when it comes to their power, okay, once again, the Lord gave them the power. Okay, when it comes to on the left hand side, when it comes to their witchcraft, but the Lord about to cut all that off. Okay, which they don't. When it comes to Esau Edom, they're not gonna know what's best. They're gonna go back to and knowing to use their sword, man. Okay, and the Lord eventually gonna put an end to that. Okay, when Yahweh Shai return, and when Yahweh Shai lift up the standard for the elect. Okay, when it comes to that spiritual power, the miracles. Okay, the Lord raising up the elect. Okay, but we know Esau Edom ready to come in as that flood. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. Okay, like I said, with his martial law troops, his concentration camps, detention centers, travel bans, okay, barricades. Okay, you hear the talks of more and more. They bringing back the firing squad. Okay, we already know about the guillotines. Okay, yeah, but the Lord gonna lift up a standard for the elect. Okay, even though you're gonna have certain men, and start with the men being martyrs, but the ones that die in the faith. Okay, when it comes to serving Yahweh Shema Shai, they're gonna be the first ones risen up when Yahweh Shai return to gather the rest of the elect that's not gonna perish. Okay, yeah, but we coming in these times, man, a jig of trouble. Okay, especially when they implement that RFID micro. Okay, and it says, "And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee, so will I destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard." Okay, and like I said, eventually this place America being destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles, and the chairs bringing fire. That's going to indicate Esau Edom downfall, right along with these heathens, leading to Yahweh Shai establish the kingdom of Israel. Okay, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. Okay, starting with the elect. Let me see. Now I get this, and I'll get ready to close. Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false anointings and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders. Okay, this go for Esau, Edom too. Even though you're gonna have false prophets amongst Israel, okay, and false teachers amongst our people, which the Lord gonna bring judgment upon them. But now through Esau, Edom, pseudoscience, okay, him trying to perform his miracles. Well, there's Revelation chapter 13, okay, going into how he do miracles in the sight of the beast, okay. Like I said, it's technology, okay, AI, okay, and the coming of that RFID micro, how they gonna present that, okay. Like I say, and how they're gonna push, more surveillance, biometric, transhumanism, okay. And so those his technology in the time when all hell breaking loose, and he presented himself with those pseudoscience, okay, fake science, okay, gonna be great signs and wonders for majority of the people here in the world, especially America. Okay, that a lot of our people gonna fall for it, okay, right on a lot of these heathens, okay, that's gonna lead to their judgment. But it continue on, and it says, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, okay, but it's not possible for the elect, okay. When it comes to Yahweh Shema Shai, okay, miracles, his miracles on the right hand side, okay, and the Lord lifting up that standard and being a guide unto the elect of the nation of Israel, okay. So they ain't gonna deceive us or the hopeful elect, man, because we see him coming, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. We're measuring, okay, we're being circumspect, okay. Matter of fact, let's get that in our end. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 14. Wherefore he said, Awake if thou sleepest, that arise from the dead, and Yahushua shall give thee light. Okay, ultimately the elect. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. So redeeming the time, because the days are evil, man. Okay. So we're being circumspect. Okay. We're not asleep. We're not in that spiritual slumber, as majority of our people in the world, man. Okay, mainly our people. Okay, when it comes to the 2/3, man. Okay, but us, the hopeful elect is all about enduring and to keep pushing, to keep fighting and serving Yahweh Shema Shai. And at the same time, watching, man. Okay, and watch as well as pray. Preparing ourselves, man. Because we are these evil times. More and more we're approaching Jacob's trouble and the downfall of this place, man. Okay? So the Lord gave us a spiritual eyesight to able to dissect what's going on, man, when it comes to these elites agenda. And our people that's don't soul out, doing their bidding, right along with these heathens, man. Okay? All of them gonna fail, man. Okay, when it comes to the wrath of Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay? And like I say, more and more madness, man. And even if this individual, he, a Jake or not, okay, say if he, which like I said, a lot of these things are set up. Okay, but look, if he is set up, he's doing the bidding of Esau Edom. Okay, which more and more looking more and more is set up, man. But a lot of our people, they'll go that low. Okay, and like I said, they probably, just using Jake face as the next T-rism. Okay, but we already know who the biggest T out of all. Okay, Esau Edom, and I'll keep it like that. More and more madness. We'll see how this pan out, which it ain't looking too good right now. Okay, they're gonna come with the next crisis or Apollo crisis. Okay, to bring their agenda, man. Okay, especially when it comes to more and more at this place, economy on the verge of collapsing, man. Okay, and becoming more and more civil unrest. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the lesson here, and I pray that lesson will edify until next time, Lord willing. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.